What up, viewers? What up? What up? Calc Soups here, and today is Friday, August 13th, Friday the 13th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week, video game news. This week was really good for indie titles. There was a lot of indie news this week, so it's something I'm always very excited to talk about. In the middle of the week, on Wednesday, ID at Xbox, which I think stands for Independent Developers at Xbox, they had a 2-hour showcase where they, well, not really a showcase. They had a couple streamers talking about talking to some people at ID at Xbox, talking about games that were coming out. It was actually pretty fun. It was a little bit more low key. Again, it was an indie developer thing, but it was really cool to see. I believe Strawberry and Blind Gamer Steve talking about some really cool games that are coming up. One of which I'm very excited about, Wandering Village. I think we saw this last at either Gamescom last year or sometime this year, but it was a really cool indie game where you take place. It's a strategy civilization builder, but you're on the back of a giant creature, some kind of colossal creature. It's one with a wandering turtle. I think it looks really cool, so that was a game I was really excited about. We also had Lab Rat, which looked like a top-down portal puzzler, which looked really cool. There was like this AI trying to get you to work through these puzzles. Definitely going for that portal vibe, but with the top-down view. There was one called Inked, and again, I'm not going to be covering off on all of them. These are just the ones that kind of caught my eye. There was one called Inked. It was like a hand-drawn kind of narrative game. It looked really cool with an isometric perspective. One of the games I was really excited to hear about was The Veil. Is an audio-only adventure. And I haven't quite grasped how the actual game, but what the buttons do, what the game's actually going to be playing. But you're going to be playing. It's a fantasy game. There's going to be action. You're going to be kind of defending yourself and from sword attacks and all that kind of stuff. But it's all audio only, which I think is really cool and a really really fun idea. So I really liked. I recognized some of the voices and the fantastic nature of it. Just really stuck with me. It kind of seemed like kind of reminded me a little bit of like a Fable game, like the way that the characters were talking, adventure of it all. Gave me a little bit of a Fable vibes, and that's my favorite franchise. Always happy to see more Origami 2, game I'm really looking forward to. Wrath of the Righteous was also discussed. That's the Pathfinder adventure game that is coming out, the next one that's coming out, so always excited to see more about that. And then they had Stardew Valley is coming to Game Pass, which was big news. There's plenty of other things. They also talked about Evil Genius 2 and a couple other titles, but the ones I covered were the ones I was really excited for. And I actually think Xbox had a better presentation this week than Nintendo did, because Nintendo had their own Indie World showcase. It was just 20 minutes, pretty short. They just kind of chopped right through it. One of the big titles that caught my eye in the Nintendo Indie World showcase was Loop Hero. I haven't purchased this yet on Steam, so I've been I don't know that I was necessarily waiting, but now that it's coming to Switch, I might wait for Switch to play Loop Hero. Loop Hero was the kind of auto battler, but you're running around in a circle and you're designing the map that the character is going through. Really big game that came out this year. I'm excited to see it come from Steam to Nintendo Switch, and that's coming out in holiday, but no further details there. They also talked about Axiom Verge 2, which came out this week actually. So they were talking about it as it already had launched. That was very excited and a nice 2D action game to play. Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon was also something that kind of caught my eye. I don't know why. Something about the Shovel Knight aesthetic really gets to me, but I haven't actually played any Shovel Knights. I'm not sure if I actually own the Shovel Knight. I'm not sure if I actually own the Shovel Knight amiibo, but there's just something about the aesthetic that really catches me, and I just have to talk about it. So it looked pretty fun. First I thought it was mobile. It looked like a very mobile-like game, and especially with the name like Pocket Dungeon. But it looks a little fun. There's a little competitive edge to it, and you're just kind of things are slowly falling down and you're trying to pick them up. Very, very mobile-esque, but really cool idea and something I might actually look into. There was a cool indie game called Islanders, which you start with a procedurally generated kind of island, and you're just trying to constantly put down put down buildings, and the whole idea is like how to kind of put the buildings together, and every time you finish putting down buildings you get more, and you're just trying to make your island look really cool, and then when your island is completely full you move on, and you're just kind of collecting points that way. I think it looked really cool. It kind of reminds me of Dwarf Romantic, which I played a lot a couple months ago, and I still play, you know, a level or two or a round or two every now and then. But really caught my eye, and something I could see myself picking up on the Switch. Also excited to see more Metal Slug Tactics. It's something I was very excited about from the last Nintendo Direct, was talking about Metal Slug Tactics. So I'm excited. I love turn-based strategy. I love the metal. You know, I grew up in an arcade where we lost a whole bunch of quarters to Metal Slug. So very excited to see more Metal Slug Tactics, but that's not coming out until next year. And then they had Tetris Effect Connected, which I thought looked really cool. Nice cooperative. There's cooperative side of the Tetris, and the one thing that really excited me about it was that it's coming this year. It comes out on October 8th. There was a lot of games that were talking about that it either launched or coming out maybe into next year, but this one was kind of exciting that it is launching later this year. And there was a couple other game modes within Tetris, and who doesn't love Tetris? So I thought that all kind of caught my eye. But yeah, I think I liked the Xbox Indie Showcase a little bit better than Nintendo's Indie World. But let me know if there's any games that I didn't talk about that caught your eye, because I'm very excited about all the indie showcases, and I think indies are really taking over the industry right now, and so I'm really excited anytime I see indie games getting the limelight, especially in this time of year. Another game that I am very excited about, and always will be excited about, one of my top 5 favorite games, is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. It's because of I don't know that it's specifically because it's got its 4th year anniversary, which was this week. It launched in 2017, August of 2017. So this week is their 4th year anniversary. And they announced that they are going to do up-res, or you'll be able to download an up-res, which will allow you to play the game in 4K with ray tracing, make the game look really beautiful. Something I've been looking forward to a long time. I got to play it. I usually play it about once a year, right around when it launched. So one of my favorite games of all time. I'm excited to play this on the Series S or X with those ray tracing and the 4K built in. Very excited. Let me know what you think down below. Life is Strange and Before the Storm Remaster. Both of those games were meant to be a pre-order bonus. The remaster was meant to be a pre-order bonus for Life is Strange True Colors, which is still coming out on September 10th. But the remaster has been delayed into next year. So thankfully we will still be able to play more Life is Strange with True Colors coming out this year. And I think they've actually released a pre-release like DLC that you can play. So that can be really fun and hold you over while you're waiting to play more Life is Strange. But in order to play the Life is Strange and Before the Storm remaster, we will have to wait until next year, unfortunately. But, definitely something I would be interested in maybe even buying a physical edition of. Definitely love the Life is Strange games. It's one of the first games I ever streamed, and one of the first games that really got me into streaming. So love the series, and excited to play more True Colors and the remaster later this year and next. Big announced this week that Frostpunk is getting a sequel. That's right, everybody's favorite bitterly cold post-apocalyptic game is coming sometime soon. So, or at least is being worked on. We got it announced this week. That it's just kind of a CG trailer, so I wouldn't expect it anytime soon. But really excited to see it. I believe I picked up Frostpunk in a Humble Bundle a while back, so I'll have to load that up before I dive into Frostpunk 2. Loot boxes are back on Congress, well, not on Congress floor, but loot boxes are back into getting drummed up in political situations, because a couple members of Congress have started writing video game publishers, asking them if they're going to follow the UK guidelines for loot boxes. and they specifically cited the AADC, the Age Appropriate Design Code, and said and asked these publishers, are they going to follow this code when they are designing loot boxes so that it doesn't target children? The one problem with that is that the AADC is about age appropriate design code is about protecting child data, which sounds a lot like kind of our own COPA laws, the Child Online Privacy Protection Act. Those laws already exist and publishers are already using those. So it was a really weird situation this week. It was like loot boxes, Congress is going after loot boxes, but they're doing it in a way where they're asking, are people following these kind of like COPA guidelines? So it was all just a big weird misunderstanding, and it was really strange. But I think potentially the heart's in the right place. We got to look into loot boxes, making sure that we don't get kids addicted to gambling or anything like that. But the way that they went around it just seemed like they didn't have all the information, and it sounds like it was a big cluster. So yep, that's where we are with loot boxes. This comes up every other month or so, where some country or some legal body is ruling against loot boxes, because there's definitely something that gets people's passions inflamed. But sometimes they're going about it the wrong way, and that seems to be what happened this week. Right along, there is a quick and easy way that you can, and inexpensive way that you can get most of the Jackbox games that are in existence. There is a $20 Humble Bundle store summer sale for most of, I think all the way up to like Jackbox 7. So you can get all of those for for a minimum $20. But as with most things that you buy from the Humble store, you can get, this is going towards St. Jude and a bunch of other charities. So you can always pay more if you have more. But you can get all of the Jackbox catalog for just $20. I was thinking of actually getting two versions, one for Steam and one for Switch, so that I can have Jackbox on the go and Jackbox on my Steam library. So I could potentially do that, or pay as much as you want, because the money does go towards charity. Always cool to see Jackbox Games doing charity. I always like buying some games from Humble Bundle. I know that my money's going towards charity, and everyone could always use more Jackbox in their life. Really good game for bringing people together. Something that we could all use. I spoke about this back in March of 2020, I believe, was that Razer, who have done a bajillion different things besides just PC peripherals, they're also doing, they're one of the other things besides toasters and toilet paper, I think, and a couple other things is, back in March of 2020, they talked about a Razer mask that would include RGB lights, and a bunch of other stuff. So now that looks like it's getting closer to market, they're running a beta and asking for people to sign up for their beta. And I've actually signed up, so I'm excited. Hopefully I can get into the beta. But these really cool RGB masks get you one step closer to that cyberpunk future that we're all trying to strive for. Something, yeah, it looks really cool. I'm still wondering, there's got to be a micro USB in there somewhere, and it's gonna look really weird when I just have a mask hanging up and plugging in and RGBing all the time. So, but if you want an RGB Razer mask, you don't have to wait much longer, and you can sign up to be part of the beta. I'll have a link down below in the description. Nerf has made a video game. This was actually a big surprise this week. Nerf Legends is coming out. It is a first-person shooter. It has both a single-player and multiplayer game modes. And you will be playing with actual Nerf toys that you could buy at a store. And it's a full-fledged first-person shooter that no one knew about, and is coming, I believe, this October. So definitely something to look out for. I'm really curious how this is gonna be received in the market. It kind of had some Fortnite vibes, just based purely on like the aesthetic. It definitely is aiming for a younger audience, and I know that Actually, I wonder if it's going to be. It looked like it had boxes, but I'm wondering if it's got to be a full game. I don't think they announced a price or anything, but I mean, the way to get kids would be, or not get to kids, but to get a younger audience would be to make it free and put it on a bunch of platforms. So I'm wondering if that's actually being considered as part of its launch strategy. But anyway, there is a Nerf first-person shooter video game coming out, and I actually think it'd be pretty interesting if they also like try out some guns or some designs, and before they make them into consumer products, something you buy, put on store shelves. So I'm very excited to. Well, I'm not very excited to see it, but it is exciting to see. A Nerf video game actually launching so close to announce. So very, very curious to see how that gets received. Speaking of first-person shooters, and last but certainly not least, Splitgate, the Halo/Portal game that we talked about probably for the last once or twice over the last 2 years, has had a resurgence. It is finally launched onto consoles, and is starting to see players really pick up. So for those of you who don't remember, Splitgate has very much the aesthetic and shooting style of Halo, but also within your Halo Arena, multiplayer arena shooter, you also can create portals and shoot through portal and shoot and react to them just as if you were playing Portal. So that's the Halo mashup, Portal mashup that you didn't know you needed, but is having a resurgence, and so there's plenty of people to play against and see what that's all about this week. That's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy this content. If you do, follow, like, and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch. You can see more great content like this down below in the description. Thanks again. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. I hope you have a super Friday the 13th. And I hope you have a super... Bye!